Well, hello my friends, this is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I'm telling you, I've just been sitting here waiting for you to come by. Thank you so much for stopping by and joining me. I am just ready to go. I know I'm running a little, but I'm telling you, the surprise I have for you, I think you will see it's worthwhile. Well, first of all, how are you? I hope you're doing well. We have just been hot. Rainy hot, high humidity hot. Just don't want to do anything. You don't want to leave the air conditioner. I'm telling you. But right now, it's night and it's cool a little bit. I hope my fan's not bothering you. I got on just a little, just to keep the air circulating. I thought maybe since it was too hot to work this morning or in the daytime, I thought I'd try it tonight to go ahead and start working on bringing you my next, I'm telling you, my next tutorial surprise. But first, let me explain my little inspiration for it. So let's get into our basket. This was a basket I had around my house. You know, I can go shopping in my house, and I thought, what could I put in this basket to go along with that theme? And here's what I came up with. First of all, how about a beautiful scented candle? Now, it can be high-end or just something as simple as one from the Dollar Tree. You know, it just depends on who you're giving it to and the purpose you're giving it to. If it's just somebody simple or somebody you don't know, you just kind of, but at least hopefully you know their colors or something that they might like. And this is a green theme, so look at this candle. It's a beautiful color of several different greens. Isn't that pretty? I just thought, you know, if you're gonna maybe take a nice relaxing bath or something, of course you could always use a candle, right? Right. So I'm gonna set my candle right here. And don't forget to say hello to Bird. Bird is here kind of watching, so I'll set my candle right there. How about that, Bird? Okay, next thing you need, of course, is maybe some beautiful soaps. Now, you can go high-end, or like I say, you can just find something when you're out looking. This is oatmeal and coconut soap. It's just something I picked up, but the box was so pretty. It was already boxed, and I just thought it was pretty. It wasn't your regular style soap. Tuesday Morning has great soaps. I don't know if y'all have ever been over in that, I don't even know what department that would be in, but they do carry, or you know, they used to carry beautiful smelling soaps. Sometimes I'd buy them. They are a little expensive, or you could check your local Target or even Walmart. But beautiful soap, especially if it comes in a beautiful box already, ready to go. So I opened one box and look how large that is. Now this says oatmeal and coconut. Now I guess the oatmeal is for you know, rubbing on your skin to stimulate your skin. And I do smell the coconut. They probably put a little coconut oil, which is supposed to be good for your skin. So here's a nice big bar of soap. My gosh. So I can set that out of my basket. I'll just set that over here for the time being. Then, of course, if you know the person, or if it's for yourself, or if you can get an idea, this is just inexpensive, but this is a great body wash. And I just picked it up. I picked it up mainly because of the color, green. And let's see if it smells. It smells pretty good to be something I just picked up inexpensively. But like I say, you can always try Target or one of the specialty shops in the mall if it's something for someone really special. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I'll just put that, I'll switch that around and put that there. Okay, now since we are knitters and crocheters and we like to throw in a little extra, you know, I always try to throw in a few little sparkles. Now, you know, I have a lot of cotton. So the easiest thing to do is just to pick up two. If you have a lot of this, I have a lot of this old sugar and cream and peaches and cream, or any brand, or you can get Hobby Lobby's cotton or any brand of cotton. And I simply hold 2 strands together when I'm making these luscious spar cloths, so they're nice and thick. 2 strands of any color that you want. This was already variegated, so I just held 2 strands. I think I usually I cast on 36 stitches on a size 10. And I just knit till I'm tired. At least, normally I knit to 7 or 8 inches. This I just did real quick because I was trying to get the video done. So this, I would have knitted a little more if I hadn't had time. But it's nice and large. It fits your hand. Look at that. And look how great it goes with this large bar soap. Isn't that pretty? So, that's just plain cotton. Any brand that you can come across. Any brand that you might even have in your stash like me. And last but not least, as a knitter, I want to always give a decorative. And this one, now I'm going to move my basket. Let's see if we go this way. I'm going to move the basket and see if I can spread out my spar cloth. Now I'm going to check my camera to see if I'm on, because this is a stitch which I will be going over and sharing with you. Let's see, can I move that and tell you all about it. Now I'm going to maybe zoom in just a little bit, just so I can just hold it up. Here is the stitch for this spar cloth. Now I didn't use 2 strands because it really wears your hands out when you're working with, well, at least my hands. But I did put a beautiful border, which you will be using. I did this so that, there's some of my friends are still, not quite ready to knit a sweater. Or you are still so new that you'd say, well, Jay, I'd like to knit something, but maybe not the sweater yet. So here's the same stitch that I'm going to use and put in the sweater with the same border right here on the edge. Look at that. So now you could get a taste by just knitting a beautiful spar cloth for your bathroom or a special gift for someone. And look how large that is. I think I cast it on about 49 stitches. And I will give you the pattern for this too. So for those that are not quite ready for a sweater, then you just roll it up real pretty. There's that one. Then you have the second one. You can lay there. Then you have your pretty soap. And don't forget your body wash. And your candle. And what could be prettier than a sweet little bird to tweet you a sweet song? And to give you a nice, relaxing day to just enjoy yourself, or to give it to someone special. What do you think of that? So, let's begin, and I'm going to share with you Jay's Knit, the beauty of nature and lace, and this is my Shetland Fern sweater, just for my friends on the YouTube. And I hope you enjoy it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so, I like to give you an overview. I like to always let you know or share with you where we're going to start, which direction we're working in, and how the project will look stage or step by step. So, as you can see, I have this beautiful green sweater because the stitch that I'm going to share with you is about fern. It's about fern leaves, and that's what the stitch will. Of course, I'm going to go over all of that. But we will start at the bottom edge of the sweater. We're going to work it in one piece at the bottom till we get to the arm space, and then, of course, we'll separate it. When I worked this one, I did do it in 3 pieces. I thought, well, let's see if maybe some people would like to do it that way. But I don't know, there's so much, of course, there's more sewing and everything, and everything has to be lined up. The one that I'm going to be doing in real time that I'll be working along so you can see each step, I just decided to go ahead and put it on one size long circular needle, and I am using a US number 9. So you can check your stash to see if you have a US or a or that whatever needle that you have that will fit. Alright, so starting at the bottom, you can see it has a nice ribbing, but it also has this beautiful, right here on the front edge. If you did the yellow shawl, the lemons and lace shawl, you know, I brought to you a new way of, to add a nice border, because I just get so tired of garter stitch sometimes. So this is a more decorative border. It's just one of the forgotten stitches, where you yarn over, knit two together, yarn over, knit two together. And it's the same one that we did on the lemons and lace. So I just want to show you how versatile it is. Just to, once you find a nice stitch, you can just put it on something else. So I put it on the front of this sweater, and I think it looks great. Now, as you can see, we have pattern or a lace stitch running up the front edge, and also I had put one part of the lace, or one particular, let's see if you can see this side. You can see the lace running up, and then I did one repeat of the lace just to fill in so that I wouldn't have so much stockinette, a lot of empty space. So it's just a filler to just make the sweater look nice and full, and as you can see, it looks really nice. Now watch as I pull down so that we can go to the top of the sweater, because we start at the bottom and on one needle. We work onto the arm spaces, and then of course we will be separating the sweater into left front, right front, and of course the back. And I will go over all the supplies when we get to it. This is just to give you an overview of what, how the sweater looks. Now isn't that pretty? And the border, and guess what? Now see, I don't have to do anything special for buttonholes, because look, the lace is perfect. I found these cute little buttons, lightweight. You don't want anything heavy that's going to pull your knitting, and you can just line it up. Now, is that a pretty sweater? What do you think? Look at that. So as we go up, you will be able to make some decisions. If you like the short sleeve, a few years back, someone gave me a Lands' End type vest or type sweater, and so that's why I do a lot of just where I just leave the sleeves kind of short. I just got kind of, the vest idea is fine, but sometimes I just want a little short sleeve. Or you could pick up stitches and make a long sleeve. But you can see, it's very easy to pick up, simple sleeves. And then at the very end, let me see, can I pull it up so you can really see it? At the very end, I took the same border stitch that I came up the front, and I put it on the edge of the collar. See that? Can you see it? And then I went into my 1x1 ribbing, because then it would match the bottom edge. The bottom edge has this beautiful lace, and then you go into the 1x1, knit one, purl one, knit one ribbing. And that is Jay's. This is Jay's knit, The Beauty of Nature, which will be the pattern, the Shetland Fern Leaf pattern is the lace, and then all this pretty green. Now what do you think of that? Do you think you're ready? You think you're going to give it a try? Usually I'll tell you if it's a beginner. Oh, and you know what? I keep forgetting to give you the surprise. The surprise is, bingo! Look at the back. I decided to go ahead and put the pattern up the center back. Let's see if I can get it on camera really well here. I put 2 repeats of this beautiful lace, the Shetland lace pattern, right up the back of the sweater. Look at that. Well, normally, like you say, normally I'll say, well, it's a beginner, it's not a beginner. This, only because it's a lot to work with, it's not a beginner. Okay, there are a lot of other tutorials that I have that you could really get your feet wet and to continue to work forward. You know, you have the square sweater, square to a sweater, and then you have the feather and fan sweater. That's a nice easy sweater where there's just a front and back. But if you're a seasoned knitter and you don't mind working with large fabric, like I said, it'll start out really large, and then you're going to have to separate it into right front, left front, back. So you're going to be working a lot of different parts, but the end results is so pretty. So there's nothing else to do now, but let me tell you the supplies, go over my formula, and get you started. Okay, now real quick, we're going to cover our simple supplies. I'm not going to go into a lot of supplies. I want to keep it very short so that we can get into, well, first of all, going over all the math that I have to share with you so that we can write up our formulas. But first of all, on this sweater, I am using a US number 9. A US number 9 circular. I have this is a 48, but if you don't have a 48, if you have a 36 or something like that, that will probably work just as well. You can use any brand you want, people. I have a lot of Clover, so I do know that you don't need to switch brands in between. You know, like if you start with Clover or Woodwinds, then stay with Woodwinds all the way. If you do metal, stay with metal all the way, because there is a difference. Anyway, so I have so many Clovers. Remember, I caught the sale. Old tip, Tuesday morning. Oh, you see, a good sale comes in handy. It always pays off. So I'm using number 9 circular needle, and eventually you will probably need some straight number 9s for putting on, you know, once we start separating. And also for sleeves and anything, I always go down one size on my circular needle. So if I'm using a number 9 for the sweater, then for my collar and for my sleeves, I drop down to a US number 8. That's just, you know, that's just to make it look in proportion. So I'll have to remember to get my 8 out. So that's it. Now the yarn that I use, I'm not giving you a lot of yarn to pick from this time because this yarn works so good. I want you to get the experience of, if you can find this yarn, you know, you can substitute, but do not use Lions brand Heartland. I'm saving that for another tutorial because it did not work well with this number 9 and my numbers. So for my sweater, I use Red Heart Soft. It calls for a number 8, but we are working it in a number 9. And it is just a really nice yarn. I don't think you'll have any problems. I just want you to get the satisfaction of having yours to come out as pretty as mine. Because I really felt like it turned out really great. Now that's the one I used for the green one. Now the one I'm working in real time, it's Red Heart Soft, and this is Off-White. But you know, they have a lot of colors, so pick a color that you like. I would go ahead and get at least 4 skeins. You know, you can get this with a coupon. It's not robbing the bank, so, you know, go ahead and find yourself, get coupons or whatever, and get yourself at least 4 skeins. And you will have some left because they're quite generous. It's 256. But, you know, everybody's size is different, so have 4 skeins on hand ready to go. And some little cute buttons if you find some. But we'll talk about buttons a little later. Alright, oh, stitch markers. I don't have all the stitch markers I'm going to use out here, but I got some to represent. Get at least 2 colors of stitch markers. I need something to represent where the pattern, and I like to use red or something bright. You know, if you can. These are O-rings that they use in jewelry. I got them one time off of Etsy, and the site that I got them off, it was a young man, and he sold them by the hundreds, and I got them, and that was. Then a few years later, I tried to get more, and he was off. He was gone, you know. But there are other vendors who sell these O-rings, but they didn't have quite the deal that he had. But anyway, but whatever you want to use, but have at least a color that represent where the stitch pattern will go. And I use red, so every time I come to red, I know, oops, I'm getting ready to do the pattern. It's going to be important. Okay, and then have some other colors, you know, some yellow ones or some pink, or, you know, blue ones, or whatever you can see. But one particular to represent where your pattern will go. All right, now, the next thing, it might be something I left out, but I hope not, because I want to move right along. We got a lot of stitching, people. The next thing is, Jay, where we're taking the pattern from. Guess what? You remember? You know, I give book reviews, and I pick out books that I really, you know, that I really like to use. And I don't want you buying books and, you know, they collect dust. If I ever bring something to you, I'm using it. I'm going to show you how I use it. And it's not going to be just a dust collector, okay? So, in this book, you remember 750 Knitting Stitches, the Ultimate Knit Stitch Bible that I got off Amazon. Okay, and some of you did too. I loved it because it's hardcover. You know, I like to have my library to look like a library. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to carry to the stitch. And we are going to do, now I may hold this up. Let me check my camera, see if it's on here. Nope, Jay, you're way off. Okay, you don't have to read it because it's going to be printed, but I think you can see that. Okay, right here. And sometimes I forget, but a lot of times if you see stars, that simply means that I've used a stitch or I've worked a stitch before and I enjoyed it and it will be worth doing it again. So I buy those little stickers like kids have. You know, I'm a big kid at heart. So I put a star by it. And this is the Shetland Fern panel. We've used panels before. And this was I just felt like this was just perfect for not only the calendar with the birds and the nature scene, but it also gives you a little taste of Shetland lace without going all crazy. You know, we only have a couple of rows where we actually, Shetland lace is you'll actually work the pattern, do lace on the front and on the back of the pattern. But there's only a couple of rows where we have to do that. Everything else is pretty up front. But it does make a pretty pattern. So there are 16 rows in this pattern, but most of the wrong side rows are purl. So that makes it nice and easy. It gives us a rest. There are 13 stitches in this panel. And we can work it on a background of stockinette. That's one reason I picked it. I didn't have to do reverse stockinette because there's going to be a lot going on. You know, I don't have written patterns. We're designing this. You're going to be designing yours. You're going to have your own formula. I've got it all worked out. Just to encourage you. Just to help you, my friends. Because I just love this sweater. It is so pretty. Okay. Get on with it, Jay. So, this is the pattern. If you have this book, you can work right along in your own book or whatever. If not, I will have it on the screen. And I will also be doing a really nice information sheet. You don't have to worry about seeing this one. I'm just kind of giving you a little preview. I'm giving you an information sheet. First of all, you will get the line by line as I knit the stitch. Okay. Then the information sheet will just give you a few little tips or some help. I have a sample of a size chart. Now, you might say, oh, Jay, well, you had another size chart, but that was for a different sweater. That sweater was the ones where, yes, we do right front, the back, and the left front all together in one piece, but we left a big hole for the armhole, remember, and we decreased. That's a different style sweater. This one, I'm doing something different. We're going to add the sleeve as we go. So this one, it didn't require a big, large armhole space. So we're going to work from, and this sample chart is simply to help you to figure out what your numbers. I can't go back through everything, but I counted and I am comfortable. I represent large, and on my number 9s, I counted it out and I get, close to 96. And you remember, you always round it up to the next number. So my next number came out to be 96. And that's how I work it. So you're going to have to either swatch, if you trust your swatch method, or do some counting. And really all you have to do, to even make this even quicker, just cast on some stitches, knit a few rows, pull the stitches off the needle, put it from your right, go from your left side to the center of your body, to your belly button or something like that. And you can kind of almost figure it from that, because on this sample chart, if I have 80, that just represents half of your body, not all the way around, just half. So if I had 80 stitches for a small person, then all she has to do is take 2 times 80, and that's 160. See, it's a lot easier, and you get to me, it's a better count than trying to go all the way around your body and hold it and count it. Just do one side. 88 for a medium, and you just take that times 2. Mine is 96. I take 2 times 96, and I get 92. So I know, but I'm giving you the simple chart to try to get close to one of these, ranges of numbers, these sizes. Then I'm also going to go ahead and give you the working formula. I've done the math, but I need to explain it to you so that when you see a sheet from now on, and like before, you will know not only what you're looking at, but how to use it. It is no good for me to do all this math and all this, and you're like, what in the world? Look, I just go ahead and get me a sandwich. I don't know what that woman is talking about. No, I want you to know. So when you're all done, we work from one line. That's all. We work from a right front, across the back, and to a left front. Not 4 or 5 pages, not any charts. Just one line and the stitch. That is it. So once I start going through, then I will refer back to this information page. This is why I'm telling you now, so that you will be able to put the tutorial on pause. And yes, you really should, anytime you're doing a tutorial, watching someone's tutorial, I always listen to the tutorial as much through as possible to see if it's something, first of all, that I comprehend, or if she's giving me explaining it, or he, and then if I really want to do it. Because I don't care who you are or where, knitting is work. And if you're not willing to do the work, then you won't get the prize at the end. And I love doing the work. And I try to make the math simple. And I want it simple enough that I can explain it. It looks like a bunch of numbers. It is. But once you see it as I lay it out, you will like, oh my gosh, this is people who like visual learning. I'm a visual person. I was a painter for years. Not only decorative painting, but I hand painted custom tiles for homes for years. And I will show you that eventually. I just hadn't got around to it. I'm too much into knitting right now. But I will one day just kind of digress and go and just kind of show things. But I'm a visual learner. And you can give me 5 pages and 6 charts, and I will look at it and look at it. It's not that I'm not bright. I just like, oh gosh. But if you can show me, I got it. And that's all I'm trying to do for those who are willing to put in a little work. And once you get it, I'm telling you, you will never be lost to making something, or a garment or a sweater for yourself, ever. Because you'll know how to do it. You'll know how to just set it up. We are making and designing our own patterns right as we start this. So once I go through it, once we start actually working with the yarn, this information page will come up on the screen. And I had instructed him to let it stay up along with the stitches to give you time to kind of take it all in and take your time. I'm going to do each row anyway. I'm going to knit that for you. So, other than that, I think that's enough so that we can get started, I'm going to get my needles and my practice yarn first to get you on. So we'll start at the bottom. We're going to start at step 1. Remember, I had 4 steps. We have the edge, we have the body, we have the sleeve, and then we finish with the top, like the neck or the collar or whatever, the shoulders, the 3 needle bind off. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so before I bring out the piece that I'm working in real time, everyone will start in the same place no matter what size, and that's the bottom edge. Step 1, we will do the ribbing, and I use the same system all the time. That way I don't have to pay any attention, I don't have to worry about it or try to come up, unless I'm really going to do a difficult or a new pattern or a new stitch I want to try. Now, we're doing the 1x1 ribbing, so for me, I'm using the large size. I cast on the original 192 stitches, but to add the 1x1 ribbing, you need 1 extra stitch because it needs to be an odd number when you're knitting flat. If we were knitting this in the round, it would be fine to have an even number. Does that make sense? Because we're just going to be working back and forth. Okay, everyone in the same place will start. I have on a small sample here just to kind of get you started. And on this pattern, you have a front edge on the right, left, and on the left front. And the first 9 stitches, we used it in the tutorial. I think it was Lemons and Lace. It was a yellow shawl. Some of you may have seen it, or you may have tried it. Okay, well, I'm going to take that same pretty edge and bring it and use it on this sweater, and I think you're going to really like it. So the first 9 stitches, let's go. Everyone, no matter what size, will start here. This is step 1. This is the bottom edge, the ribbing. All right, I'm going to knit 3. That's 1, 2, and 3. Then the pattern says yarn over, knit 2 together. It's just one of the forgetting stitches where you just knit 2 together. Okay, now repeat that until you've used up the 9 stitches. Yarn over, knit 2 together again. It's a little tight here for me to get started, but I'll get it. And so far, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 7, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7. Now I knit the last 2 stitches, 8 and 9. Now let's double check. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 1 makes 9. So I grab a marker, not the red ones, this is not the pattern, this is just our edge. So I put a mark there. Now, this is what seems like confuses people. Then I start my 1 by 1 ribbing. And I always start as if this is the wrong side. This very first row that I'm doing. So I bring my yarn in front and I start with a purl 1, okay, then yarning back, knit 1. Purl, yarning back, knit. Just that simple. Purl, knit. You can do it any way that you like. If you like to start with the knit first, you know, which most patterns call for, but I never come out right. So I'm used to this, you know, it just works for me. But now this is your sweater. I'm just walking you through the steps of how I made my sweater. And I want you to have good results also. So we will continue across. And of course on the original, it's a long row, but this is a short row. And I will see you as I get close to the last, you know, to the 9 stitches on this edge of our first row. Back in just a minute. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of this small sample. And I'm still working in the 1 by 1 ribbing. So I've knit, purl, knit, purl. So yarning back and I'm ready to knit. And if I started with a purl, then I should end with the purl in the ribbon section. So purl. Now I'm going to stop and count. I should have 9 stitches, or I want to make sure that I have 9 stitches to match the other edge. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 1 is 9. And I end it with a purl. So I'm going to put my yarn in back. I'm going to grab a marker. It's not a pattern yet. We haven't got to any pattern. We're just doing the ribbing. Alright, I just wanted to make sure I showed you this. So when I get to this end, the exact same stitch we're going to do that we did on the beginning. We knit 3, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, okay, yarn over, knit 2 together. We're using up those 9 stitches for the border, and knit the last 2. Now, I think the XX size, I put in more stitches on this border just to fill in space so that the sweater would look in proportion and look nice. So you may have 3 yarn overs. So now as soon as I turn the work, here is my front edge border on this end. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I simply do the same, I repeat the same sequence every row, every time, every size. So let's go. Knit 1, 2, 3, okay, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. You do the repeat as many times, but you will end with a simple knit 2. No yarn over, just simply knit 2. Every row, every time. Now I go back into the ribbing and I can slide the marker. Now you can read the stitches. You can see that this row is the front side now. I know that this is definitely the front, and this starts with a knit 1, purl 1. So let's go. Knit 1, purl 1, yarning back, knit, and purl, knit, and purl. And purl. So we'll go to the other end, and then I'll be ready to switch to a larger demo piece. Hold on. Okay, now here's my sample that I'm working ahead, but let's talk a minute to make sure everyone will get to the same place on your piece. You're down here now. You are to work the ribbing till you reach row 9. Row 9 will be on a wrong side. So as soon as you finish row 9 of the ribbing and your edges, and you turn the work, you will be on row 10. It will be row 10, but really it will be the next right side. And on that side, we are going to simply, after you finish all the ribbing, row 9 is the wrong side, you turn, you're on the right side, you're going to knit across all the stitches, except the 2 borders. You always keep the borders in the pattern that we've established, right and left. But all the ribbing, we will knit across the row to set all the stitches, because you've got purl stitches, knit stitches. Unless it's going to be something that's going to interfere with my pattern, I simply try to do this as often as I can. It just helps me. So I knit across all the way. See how long my I knit all the way across. Now I'm cleaning up all the stitches, in other words, till I get to this end. I work the edge pattern there. Then I purl back. So everything is nice and clean, and it will be simple to read and to see what I have. And we'll make sure I'm on camera, so once we start showing you what I'm doing, let me go up. Okay, now can you see that? Okay, I'm going to keep hitting the camera, sorry. Alright, now let's talk a minute. So we finished 1 knit row, 1 purl row, we're back. Now we actually want to set in markers and start our pattern. Now, the first thing we have to do, well, let me show you what I do. Alright, first of all, I write my, I can read it off my little print up, but you're going to have to write out your formula for the size that you're working. And I didn't have a sheet long enough to write it out, so I wrote it up in 3 sections. I'm right-handed, so I'll work from the right side across, then I go to the back section right in the middle, and then I end with the left side and that border. Does that make sense? See if that's on there good. Oh yeah, that's great. Okay, so reading my formula, I have a border of 9, then I have 4 stitches that I need to just separate. I need some separation before I do the pattern. My pattern or my stitch will always be in the block, so you'll know where they are. There needs to be some separation between the 2. We're doing 2 repeats. You will notice on, let's see, I believe it's small, there weren't enough stitches, yes, on the small size. Oh, and the small and the medium. I had to double check. I'm looking at the sheet now. On the information sheet, you're going to notice that the small size and the medium size, there was not enough stitches in the front left to do 2 repeats. Okay, so you only do 1 repeat. That's why you're going to look at your size and your formula. You'll have 1 repeat and then extra stitches. But I have 2 repeats, so I have a repeat here, then I put 3 stitches in between to give separation. I have another repeat of the pattern, and then I end with 6 stitches before I start my back. See? Now the back, right here. As soon as I finish those 6 stitches, I simply do the border that I'm going to show you, this the little separation of stitches. I do 4 stitches. And I'm placing markers as I go along these places. And you're going to see it better once I show it to you, but I'm reading it to you first. Then, the back, I was able to get in, and I think everybody will have 2 repeats in the back. You'll have a repeat of the pattern. You'll have 3 stitches in between to separate, and another repeat of the pattern. whatever your back number on your pattern, say for instance, my back number is 96, okay? Don't forget, we have one extra stitch because I had to put one stitch for the ribbing. It always lands in the back. So 96 becomes 97. Together? Okay. Well, in order to find out how many extra stitches I have, all you have to do is subtract. Remember, just start subtracting. I subtract from 97. 96 plus the 1 is 97. I subtract this whole little section right here of the pattern, the 3 stitches and the pattern, comes up to 29 stitches. So I subtract 29 stitches from 97, and I get that number. Then I subtract 4 stitches from that number, and 4, that's 8. So you can simply say 8. And that will show me how many stitches. I think I had like 60 left, 60 stitches. Well, then I know I can divide the 60 stitches into 30 and 30. That's how I got these numbers. So my back will have 4 stitches for this little border, like, just so you'll know you're at the back. 30 stitches of just knitting. You can't throw them away, you got to use them. I have 2 repeats of the pattern with that 3 stitches in between, the other 30. And then I end with another border of 4. See, it's all equal. That's the back. Well, then I go right into the left front. Because I'm right-handed, I'm knitting in this direction. If you're left-handed, you're just knitting in the reverse. I think that's the way left-handers do. Okay, so after I finish the back, I go right here. I start with, I knit 6 stitches. I had an ending of 6 stitches up here on the right front. So on the left front, I start with 6 stitches. I have 2 repeats. I have a repeat, that 3 stitch separation, another repeat. I have 4 stitches. It's just the reverse of the right side. And I end with that 9 stitch border. Knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 2. Every row, every time. Now, sounds like a lot, but now let me show you how it looks on the real yarn. And I can just leave this here and kind of glance at it. Alright, now this is, you just need to see this. Of course, I have to knit ahead so that I can get ahead of you, so because I've got a lot more to knit, we have to get up to the sleeves and all of that. I still can't figure out a way to how, I try to knit. I wish I could knit as I designing, but I don't know. Let's go on. Here's my 9 stitches. Look, you can see my 9 stitch, my nice border. XX, I think you have 11 stitches, but it will look the same. You put a marker, just to see all these markers you're going to need. I just use a yellow one here, just something different. Then I had on my formula, see, I had 4 stitches. Remember, I'm just reading off here, putting everything in. I'm putting markers all along the way. This is all I'm knitting. Once you get it on here, you don't hardly need this anymore. You just need the stitches. So I have, after I do the board, I have 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. I put a marker. I'm putting a red marker. That starts my first pattern repeat. Like I say, you're down here. You're putting your markers down here. I have to knit far ahead of you so that I can keep ahead. So I can demonstrate. But anyway, you'd have a red marker. You're down here and you're putting a red marker. Then you start the pattern, row 1. And you do that part of the pattern, then you end it with a red marker. Whew, I'm done. I got the first pattern. Then I've already knit ahead, but right here you'd have 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. There will be a red marker right here. I've already passed that point. To let you know, now there are 13 more stitches if the front was wide enough. Like I said, the small and medium, there's not enough stitches to put this extra little fern leaf in there, so you just stitch across. But for the rest of us, look at your pattern. Okay, you have 3, then I'll repeat this pattern. I'm down here now. I'll repeat this pattern, and I ended on my large. I have 6 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, before I go into the back. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Can you see it in real time, real life? All right, sliding along. This is why you need that long 48 or 36 or some kind of long circular. Okay, now I get up to where I want to start the back. Now look at my pattern, my thing. My back says it starts with a border of 4, then I have 30, then the pattern twice, and so on. So to mark, just so that I know where the underarm will start, or this designates the underarm. Okay, when I did the other sweater and I did them in pieces, this would have been 2 stitches, 2 stitches, and I would have sewn up this seam right here. Well, I changed my mind, and I thought, well, some of y'all gonna like, Jay, I just can't do all these 3 pieces. So I went back and put it on this where everything is on one needle. But I wanted you to know where the underarm space. So I did 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice, I put green markers. You'd have another, whatever color. But you need them different than the pattern. And all you're going to do is do a garter stitch. Knit these 4 stitches on every row. You know what garter is. On the front, on the back, every row you knit these 4 stitches, and you do have to pay attention because you'll fall asleep and you'll just knit, do it on the wrong side. But 4 stitches in garter right there. Can you see it? Now we move on. Now I have a field of just knitting. I'm just knitting along now. Like, oh my gosh, Jay, I got it. Oh my goodness, this is kind of fun. I'm just reading this. I've got my markers. Okay, for my, I'm in the back. Here's my back right there. And you can see I have 30 stitches. And as time goes, I can go back over how do you get that. But let's continue right now. All right, now, so I have 30 stitches. I'm not going to count them, so I just knit across. I knit across until I get in my 30. I put another, you're down here now, you're just starting. So then you finish your 30 or however many you're supposed to have. It's on your formula, so I've already done it for you. You're welcome. Okay, so I've already done it just to save you time, but eventually I do have to make sure that you understand how you get this formula. You know, I want to make sure of that every time because you want to be able to do this on your own. So I get to a marker down here, red marker, and I do the next. I'm still on row 1, so I do that down here, row 1. It's way down here. So I do row 1, then I have 3 stitches, then I have another red pattern. Remember, we have 2 in the back. I'm still in the back. I work those 13 stitches, and this is so nice. These stitches don't change numbers. They're always 13, so you can always check and make sure that you didn't drop something or something's off, because you should have 13 stitches in every stitch pattern. So these don't change like some of the other stitches. Then I put a last red marker. Now I'm on my way. Now I'm knitting across, and my formula said, oh, if I had 30 over here, I got to have 30 here. So we even everything out. Because I left that 1 extra stitch in the back, that helped me to even out. If it had not been even, then I simply would add an extra stitch anyway. But it was already there, remember, because I did the 1 by 1 ribbing, and I had to add that stitch. That's why things came out even. But, so anyway, I got 30. For my formula. Now I'm up to that underarm space again. This is all part of the back. We're taking the underarm stitches from the back, not from the front. We want the fronts always equal. The back can be any number. Okay. So, remember it's garter stitch, so I knit 4 stitches on every row. And I mark it with a different color. Now I'm on my way. Now, since I had 2 repeats of the pattern on my front because I have a lot of space, and if I'm large, extra large, and XX large, you're going to get 2 repeats on the front for the first leaf. So I did 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I had a marker. Then I repeated this pattern right there, and I had 3 stitches in between. Then I finally got to this edge. I did this leaf, I have 4 stitches right here, and then voila, I'm up to my left side front edge border. Knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 2, and then I turn the work. As soon as I turn the work, I go right back into this border, doing the same thing. Now, what I will do, first of all, what do you think of this? Can you understand what I've presented to you? All right, so now, the reason I was trying to get this one done because I've got a lot more knitting. All right, as soon as I worked, this pattern is 16 rows long. You're going to work all 16 rows, which will be it'll be one whole leaf. As you start this next row 1, then every one will have a 1 leaf here. Then you will stop. You will not pick up this leaf again. You will remove the markers as you knit and just knit across. So you will have the leaf, 1 row, 1 complete of the pattern. 16 rows is 1 leaf. So here's 2. But once you get past that and you start row 1 again, you do this leaf, start here, and then just knit across. Does that make sense? You don't have, but now you keep going. You keep going and you repeat the pattern. Here is, you start at row 1 again, doing your same, following your formula. Then you start this leaf, continue across till you get here. Once you get to this, you do not carry this leaf again. You will simply knit all the way, removing the red markers or whatever color you've designated as your pattern, and then you will finish this leaf here. Now, the pattern will tell you how far up you're going to knit to your arm space. I needed 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to reach my underarm. So that's where I am. But before I do get to 4, I'm going to come back at row. I'm going to give you time to see what you're doing or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to start. The next one is row 3. The third pattern. I'm going to start on row 1, but it'll be the 3rd repeat of this pattern. That's where I'm going to knit every row for you, for the pattern. Does that make sense? So, that's the next step. You get set, you kind of start if you want to, so that when you're down here, I'm up here, but you're down here, and I'm going to do the pattern row by row, calling it out as I always do, so that you will see how to knit every row. Was that a mouthful? Are you ready to hit me in the head? Or do you just want to go get a sandwich and just say, Jan will take me a nap? I don't know. Oh gosh. Oh please take a nap and then come back. Okay, I got to get off here so I can get set up so we can start knitting. You're going to finish your ribbing, and I will meet you back on after you finish 9 rows, and you do a knit row and a purl row. Now you're on the right side, you're ready for me to come back, and we're going to start knitting down here. You're down here, but I had to be up here so I can have time to get some of this done. So we're going to start, and I'm going to knit each row for you so you can see how easy it is. But it does take a little, you have to pay attention a little bit. Voila. All right. Have fun on your ribbing. Do a great job. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now here we are. We're ready to get started. The name of this stitch is the Shetland Fern, I'm going to call it lace stitch because it's just a very pretty lace. And there are 13 stitches in this panel of stitches right there. Okay, but we're going to start on row 1 of this pattern. Row 1 is the right side. But before we do that, we need to work our border. I'm going to work our row and call it out just as I usually do. Alright, this border is 9 stitches, so I'm going to knit 3. Everybody, every size. Yarn over, knit 2 together. Yarn over, knit 2 together. And if you're extra large, you may have another yarn over. And then simply knit the last 2 stitches. Oops, wait, there we go. Knit 1 and then knit 2. Alright, now I slide my marker, because we've got markers now. We're making sure we've got some putting in markers. On my formula, I have 4 stitches just to separate, so I just simply knit those. These are just filler stitches in between your design, your pattern stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, because I'm using a red marker so that I won't fall asleep or run past my my lace stitch. Alright, I see my lace stitches here. So I'll slide my marker. And this is row 1. We're working on row 1 now. You're down here. Row 1 of the pattern. Row 1 reads, it is, like I said, it's the right side. It reads, knit 6, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass slip stitch over, knit 5. This is the first part of this whole pattern thing is pretty easy. So I'm going to knit 6, so we'll be able to hopefully make up a lot of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only when you get to towards the middle, then you really have to pay a little attention. Pass knit 6. Let's see, 1, let's see, 2, 4, 6. Okay, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Just reach back and pass it over, and you should have 5 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and knit those stitches, those last 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, since you're down at the bottom, you will slide your marker, okay, and then you're going to knit your 3 stitches for separation. 1, 2, 3, and then you'll start. If you have a second leaf, you will be down here starting the second leaf. I've already passed that, so I'm going to move on. So just to remind you of our garter. So I knit right on across. Just as though I have knit 2 repeats. Okay, so here I come up, and I'm near the end of my right side, my right front. Alright, my right front, I'm done, and I come up to my green markers. That's a reminder. I slide the marker, and I simply knit these 4 stitches on every row. Right side, wrong side, just knit all 4 stitches, and then slide the marker. Okay, now, as you can see, we are on the back section. Now you're following your formula, and I'm not going to repeat all these. You knit over to the pattern, and you will repeat it. Knit 6, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 5. Move on to the next one, knit the 3, repeat that same stitch sequence, and all the way till you can get to the other end. Then I will see you back, and row 2 is simply purl. It is a true purl stitch, so you will purl all the stitches except the garter stitches right here under the arm. You have to knit on every row, and each borders group the 9 stitches for each border, the right front and the left front. All the other stitches you can just simply purl for row 2. I will see you back at row 3. Have fun. We're on our way now. Okay, I'm back, and we are at row 3. So I'm going to go back to my front edge border. I'm going to knit 1, 2, 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, and knit the last 2 stitches. Slide my marker, and I have 4 stitches here. Now, I see my red marker telling me I'm up to my lace pattern. I slide the marker, and row 3, of course, is the right side, and row 3 reads, knit 4, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 4. So here we go. So I'm going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over, and I end with 1, 2, 3, 4, knit the last 4 stitches. Oops. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you have the second repeat, then you stay in pattern, and you're going to just simply go and repeat row 3 at every stop along the way where you're supposed to repeat the pattern. And don't forget, though, I hope you didn't forget when you were on the purl side that you remembered, I have green markers, but the garter ridge row that you knit on every side. Alright, I will continue across, stopping at every pattern, every lace stitch section across. And then, of course, row 4 is a purl row, and it's a true purl row. So you can purl all the stitches except the 2 borders and the 2 garter areas that mark the arm space. So, we're flying right through this. This is good because we're going to need a little help when we get down a little further. So, I will see you back at row 5. Knitting across. I'm watching a movie as I'm knitting and working. Take your time. See you back shortly. Okay, so now we're ready for row 5. Of course, you're still on the first leaf because this is our first time going through the whole stitch pattern. So you're still down here, but don't worry, it'll go. Don't quit. Keep going. So, now I'm up to row 5. Alright, let's see here what I can get done. Alright, of course we start knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together again, and knit the last 2, just 1, 2. Alright, now I'm on my way over to my lace section of this sweater. Here's my red marker reminding me I'm at row 5. It is the right side, and it reads knit 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 3. Easy enough. We're still just sailing along. We hadn't got anything hard yet. But we will press on. Knit 3. Alright, now knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, now knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over, and just knit the last 3. 1, 2, 3. And continue in pattern across the row as you're working on your first leaf. And, of course, row 6 is a true purl row. So you will be purling the stitches, nothing unusual yet. I will see you back at row 7. Watch your yarn overs. They'll start increasing now. Because as your leaf, your fern leaf is growing in size, and so, look, you'll have more yarn overs. I will see you back at row 7. Great job. Isn't that a pretty edge though? Okay, we're back. I'm back and we're on row 7. So, we're kind of moving right along. Like you said, you know, we're still working the first leaf. And once you kind of get in the rhythm of it, the other ones will not, it won't feel so hard or so strange or like it's taking so long. Alright, so I'm up here on my border. I knit 3, I knit 2 together. I just keep doing this to reinforce it. Knit 2 together, well, yarn over, knit 2 together. Now here's a yarn over, knit 2 together, and then knit the last 2. Those are the first 9 stitches, everybody, everywhere. Slide the marker, and I'm on my way as I get, here I come to my lace stitch, my leaf, and as you can see, yours should be growing wider each row. Alright, row 7 of this pretty fern lace pattern reads. Alright, we're getting into more yarn overs, and it's going to start getting a little more interesting as we get, once we get past row 7, then it'll start getting a little interesting. Alright, knit 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, yarn over, slip 1, knit 2, pass the slip stitch over, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3. Okay, well, now we're seeing a little difference here. Something to kind of whet our appetite here for a little more lace. So knit 3, row 7, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Okay, now yarn over, slip 1, now knit 2 stitches together, reach back and pass a slip stitch over that. Yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the last 3. Not too bad yet. That's good. Now I'm going to work across here because I want to show you something just in case, because you know, knit happens. So I'm going to take a few extra seconds since we've been moving. I think you've been doing quite well, and just in case this happens to you, if you're new, don't panic. Okay, so since I don't have an extra leaf, I'm ahead of you, so I can knit right on over. Now, if you had the extra leaf, you've got to continue in pattern. But when you get to the arm, designated arm, where the arm space will be, where we have a different color marker to always remind you to stop, kind of stop, look, and listen. You know, it's supposed to help you to kind of stop. This was garter stitch, and you're supposed to knit on every row, on the front side, on the back side. You just knit there are 4 stitches and you knit. Well, listen, knit happens. I don't know, I was trying to work so hard the other night and I fell asleep. And all of a sudden, you have to check it every once in a while. Stop and look. Stop, look, and just look at it. And you can see if maybe you've missed a row or you kept knitting when you, on the purl side, you know, you just kept, you didn't, you know, you just didn't keep the pattern. That's what I'm trying to say. And you see, it will just, well, you'll be able to tell it's a mistake. So I wanted to show you this for those that are kind of new. So I'm going to work up to a row and pretend like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep somewhere. And I noticed that some of my stitches, I went the wrong way. Well, all you have to do is just pull a stitch out. We'll pretend like this is one, but if you did one, you'd had to do all 4 of them, you know, because you're going to, so you pull it out and you're going to need a small crochet hook, just like this. And all you have to do is look at your stitch and see. Now there's a knit stitch right there. So I know the next stitch should have been a purl. So I'm going to stick the yarn, these little rungs, see these little ladders of yarn, little strings of yarn. All right, so to get a purl, I'm going to pull this strand right here in front of the stitch and take my little crochet hook. Okay, now there's a purl. Now then the next stitch would have been a knit, just automatically. A knit. And then this strand has to come in front. And we'll check it and make sure I did it right. If not, you just pull it out again. Let's see what we got here. Yes. Now this strand, I should pull it like a purl. Pop it back on the needle. Take a look and see. Because I'm on the front side, so I would be knitting across, see? And you'll be able to see your stitches a lot closer. So now I'm moving across. And I will double check once I get past this marker. I will stop and take a look and make sure. So you need to do that every once in a while. Take a look at this section of the pattern and make sure that you did keep it in garter stitch. Knit every row. See that? You'll have those ridges and you will know. So let me just check my other side while I'm checking. I'd always check both, but I just have to admit, a couple times on the green one I kept falling asleep. And I had to go back and get my crochet hook. So, just wanted to show you, you don't have to start pulling things out or panic. Take a little crochet hook, sit there. It's going to take you a while to kind of figure out where you are, but it's usually you'll knit and then purl one and knit one and purl until you can put it back on the needle, and then you can continue across in pattern. All right, row 8 is a purl row. It's a real purl row. You will continue in pattern, and I will see you back at row 9. Take care. More yarn over is coming. Okay, so I'm working my way now across to row 9. So I've yarn over, knit 2 together. Now I'm up to my last knit 2 on my border. My first 9 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Still correct. Pull up a little yarn. Okay, slide my marker. Knit these 4 little filler stitches right here. Now I'm up to the lace section, and this is of course the right side, and this is row 9. And you can see we've got quite a few yarn overs. You're still down on the first one because this is our first time going from row 1 through 16. Alright, row 9 reads, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, and end with a knit 1. Alright, let's go. Row 9, knit 1, knit 2 together. Oops, I got a little tangle up there. Let's try it again. Knit 2 together. Okay, now a yarn over, knit 1, yarn over again, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Okay, now knit 1, knit 2 together, another yarn over, a knit 1, yarn over again, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over, and you should have 1 stitch left, and we knit 1. Whew! I was holding my breath on that row. Oh gosh, okay. So, all we have to do now is to continue across the row, staying in pattern. That was row 9. And that is the widest row as you do the leaf stitch. Okay, so row 10 is a real purl row. That means we'll purl the stitches just as we should, except the ones that are borders. And I will see you back at row 11. We are making great progress. And you should start to see your leaf start to take shape as mine, as the ones that I have worked. Alright, continue across. Watch your yarn overs. Okay, so now I've finished row 10, and now I'm up. I thought I'd get over here towards the middle of my sweater, and now I'm ready to work row 11. Row 11 reads, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, repeat it, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 3. Now the next sequence is knit 2 together, yarn over, repeat it, knit 2 together, yarn over, the last stitch, knit 1. Alright, this is row 11. We're getting there. Knit 1, then make sure I have enough yarn, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass a slip stitch over, oops, okay, now repeat that sequence, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over, now knit 3 stitches, 1, oh, my yarn's splitting, 2, and 3. Okay, now the next sequence is knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and don't forget, yarn over. Now knit the last stitch. That is row 11, and you will continue repeating that across your row. Now, alright, row 11, of course, is on the right side, and you've got to continue across the row. Then, don't make the mistake I did. I got into such a rhythm when I turned the work, I assumed row 12 was a complete purl row. Well, you purl the stitches that need to be purled, but in the lace stitch, we are going to actually knit more pattern. So once you finish row 11, row 12 is the wrong side. Turn the work and purl the appropriate stitches, but when we get to the lace, we have work to do. So I will see you back at row 12, which is the wrong side, that we will finally work some pattern on the wrong side. Okay, take care. Okay, so I've working to the end of row 11, which is still my right side, and I'm on my left front here, getting ready to slide my marker, and of course repeat our border, front edge neck border. So I knit 1, 2, 3, okay, then yarn over, knit 2 together, and yarn over, knit 2 together, and I knit the last 2 stitches. 1, 2. All right, now I get ready, and now I turn the work. See, can I get it, make sure I'm on camera and get it all in order here. All right, pull up enough yarn. Now, as I turn the work, of course, I'm on the wrong side. And if you look on the screen, the wrong side is row 12. And so, let's see how row 12 looks, because we're going to actually get to work some lace on the purl side. Well, of course, we have to start with our border again. You know, 1, 2, 3. You should have this so memorized now. Yarn over. See, can I get in here? Oops. Wow, that's tight. Knit 2 together. Yarn over. Knit 2 together. And knit those 2 stitches. All right. Of course, then we purl the stitches that should be purled. I think I had lotion on my hands, but all of a sudden my stitches just don't want to move. Okay, so yarn in front, slide my marker, and I have those 4 stitches before I start my pattern, so I will purl because I am on the purl side. Now I'm up to my pattern finally. Okay, here we go. Sometimes I will just double check, you know, my stitch count, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 1 is 13. Okay, so here we go. Let's read the pattern first. Row 12, the wrong side reads, purl 2, yarn over, purl 2 together. Now repeat that. Yarn over, purl 2 together. Purl 1. Next sequence is purl 2 together, yarn over. Purl 2 together, yarn over. Purl 2. So that's kind of just a reversal of what we've been doing. We're just working it on the purl side. So here we go. Purl 2 stitches. 1, 2. Now, to yarn over in the purl, just go around the needle back into the purl position. Now, purl 2 together. Now, we're working it all on the purl side, so let's just stay where we are. Now, purl, you have to repeat that sequence. Go around the needle to get back into the purl position. Now, purl 2 together. Purl 1. Now the next sequence is just simply purl 2 stitches together. In the book they had purl through the back loop, but it was too much trouble and I couldn't tell the difference, so I'm just purling 2 together, just like this. Now watch. I have to yarn over, Now purl 2 together again, and you will have to pull on the stitches to get your needle in there. And the most important, yarn over one more time. See, I went around, yarn over one more time. Now purl these last 2 stitches, and you have it. And of course, you've got to work the whole row, so you will get a lot of practice on knitting on the purl side, or doing pattern on the purl side. So as I work across, as you will work across, there you go. It's really lace on the purl side, isn't it? Alright, now row 12 is the wrong side, so when we get to the end of row 12 and turn the work, we will be back on the right side and row 13. See you in just a minute. Isn't that pretty? Take care. Okay, so I've worked across row 12, which was the wrong side. I've made the turn, I've done my front edge border, and I am coming up to, I'm on row 13, which is the right side. Oh, we're almost there. Okay, let's take a look. I've spread my, and I suggest after you finish, the wrong side rows where you're working a pattern, stop and take a second to count your stitches. Make sure that you didn't drop a yarn over, or twist or something. So let's see, that was row, that's row 12, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Every pattern repeat should have 13 stitches. So I know that I did at least the purl side, that it was correct. Now I am on the front. I am on row 13, and row 13 reads, knit 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, yarn over, slip 1, knit 2 together, pass the slip stitch over, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3. So, alright, let's go, because we have one more wrong side work that we will have to work. So I knit 3, row 13, 1, 2, 3, okay. Now, yarn over, just bring the yarn over the needle, slip 1, knit 1, oops. Now reach back and pass that slip stitch over, right? Yarn over, slip 1, now knit 2 stitches together. Reach back and pass that slip stitch over. Alright, yarn over again, knit 2 stitches together. Yarn over once more, and there should be 3 stitches left. You will just simply knit those 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Oh, easy after working on the wrong side, right? Okay, long row across. Continue to work in pattern. I will see you back on the wrong side, row 14, and we will have to work, actually work the lace stitches on the back. Alright. Now, I'm going to continue to go, and I'm going to get all the stitches, all the rows in, and we are probably going to have to split this tape. So, as we finish up all the rows 1 through 16, then I will probably stop or end this section of the video, of the tutorial, and then have a part 2. But right now, I'm working across row 13, and I will see you back on 14. Take care. Don't get tired. Don't quit. Don't give up. Okay, now I am on row 4, and I've worked my way across to the middle of the back of my sweater. Row 14. I am on row 14. This is the back, and I have 2 repeats, so I thought that would be a good place to work it. Now, first thing I would do is, of course, count my stitches, make sure I had 13, and then I go ahead and kind of pull them apart because, you know, working on the back side, they seem to cross over a little bit. So separate your stitches, make sure you have them, and that you have 13. Now, row 14 is the wrong side, but we're going to work pattern on it. Row 14 reads, purl 4, yarn over, purl 2 together, purl 1, purl 2 together, yarn over, purl 4. So it's a nice easy row, and it'll be our last row of working on the back, you know, working a pattern like this. So purl 1, 2, 3, and 4. Purl 4. All right. Next thing is simply yarn over, go around the needle, yarn over. Now purl 2 together. Okay. You're in the purl position, so you purl. The yarn is in front. You purl 2 together. Purl 1 stitch right there. Now purl 2 more stitches together. You have to kind of tug at them a little bit. Like I said, make sure they're not crossed. And the last thing I need to do is to yarn over and purl the last 4. There's the last 4. I simply yarn over the needle and purl. That's 3. One more makes 4. Okay, so now I'm going to work on over to the next repeat so that you can see it again. I think it's just because of the humidity, my stitches will not slide. Yes, I'm working on these bamboos. If I had done it on metal, they would have, I don't think I'd have had the problem. But, all right, slide my marker. I purl those 3 that are just fillers. Now I'm at the next group. I do the same thing. I check my number to, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. I spread them apart so that they're not crossed. Can you see that? Now I start to work row 14 again. Purl 4. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now simply yarn over the needle or around the needle, purl 2 together. Now purl 1 stitch right there. Purl 2 stitches together, purl 2 together right there. Now yarn around the needle again, yarn over. Now purl the last 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It is done. I will continue across the row. The next row is row 15, and it's a right side row, and that's the last pattern row. So let's take a look. Look at the lace, kind of hold it up to the light so you can kind of see all the yarn overs. All right, I will see you back on row 15. Take care. Okay, we're up to row 15. So let's begin as we draw to the end of your first repeat of this pattern. Let me check my camera, see if I'm on. I am. All right. Just for fun, I'm at the front edge of row 15, and I knit my border edge again. Knit 3, 1, 2, 3. A little more yarn. Yarn over, knit 2 together. Yarn over, knit 2 together, knit the last 2. 1, 2. Okay, and then I slide my marker, and I have 4 filler stitches, and so do you. So you just knit across those just like your formula, like it's written in the formula. All right, now I'm up to my red marker, or whatever marker that designates your lace stitches. There so far is a pretty Shetland Fern leaf. Now, to put the top on this leaf, alright, row 15 is the right side, of course, and row 15 reads, knit 5, yarn over, slip 1, knit 2 together, pass the slip stitch over, yarn over, knit 5. Really easy to kind of end all of this work we've put in for this, to get this repeat. So 1, 2, that's 3, 4, and 5. Okay, yarn over, slip 1, knit 2 together, reach back and pass the slip stitch over, yarn over, and knit the last 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit those 5 stitches. Oops. So thank goodness, row 15 kind of put it back into perspective, gave us a nice little easy, simple stitch to finish with. Okay, now let's stop and talk a minute. Alright, that was row 15. Now you can see how I'm looking on camera. Okay, you see the lace. Of course, you have to complete row 15 all the way across, and then you have to purl back row 16, but it is a regular purl. You will just purl across you do not have any pattern. You will just simply do your purl across your leaves. So, as a recap, this brings you 16 rows. You should have something that looks like this. You have a leaf. If your sweater is large enough, you will have 2 in the front. If not, you only have 1 right here on the edge. Of course, your edge border, a leaf. Then you move on across. Here's your garter ridges to kind of show you where your arm space, where your sleeve we will add it a little later. And across the back, everyone had 2 repeats of the pattern. Can you see that? And then, of course, the same thing on the other side. Now, I see that I may have to go, well, probably will have to go ahead and make a part 2. Sorry for hitting the camera. All right, to do this, I'm going to go ahead and go over where you should be or what you should have. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see the bottom. Zoom back a little bit. I don't think you could have seen what I was talking about. Okay, but this is what you should have, what it should look like. 2 repeats if you had enough room. If not, just follow your formula. But now, so that you'll be working on as I'm working this sample, this sweater. So that is where we are at this point. I'm going to continue to work. You're down here. You've got to decide how many repeats of this 16 stitch pattern repeats you need to get to your underarms. I used 4, and then I stopped on row 9 of the 4th repeat so that I can add sleeves. So I will see you back until the next part of the tutorial. This is Jay. This is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam, knitting her Shetland Fern Lace sweater, showing how beautiful nature and a little lace can come together. See you back in just a little bit.